Thank you everyone for joining us, and I'll pass off the microphone to Dr. Yngvild Olsen.
Hi, great. So as Nishat mentioned, I am the current Vice President for ASAM, and I chair the COVID-19 task force, the caring for patients during caring for patients during COVID crisis kind of task force that really was started very rapidly, now about 7 weeks ago, to develop consolidated resources to support addiction treatment providers in addressing this crisis that we find ourselves in. I think probably all of you experienced the same thing that I did. It seems like it was so long ago, but really only not even 2 months, that all of a sudden it was kind of a crash course in, oh my God, how do we really do this? And so ASAM's leadership pulled together this task force to pull together guidance from federal agencies and national stakeholder groups as the federal guidance was changing so rapidly, included this caring for patients during the COVID-19 CPDC task force clinical guidance, and then wanting to make sure that we were coordinating through our state chapters and our members to then not only be able to actually have the guidance that was being developed implemented on the ground, but to really hear from people on the ground as to what the issues were, what barriers they were facing, and how we could actually help to fill some of those gaps. So the website that you see here down on the bottom of this slide is essentially the direct link to all of the guidance that ASAM has been putting together through this task force. There we go. So one of the key differences that I just want to highlight is that this is guidance. ASAM does put out guidelines, but the difference is that guidance is a rapid process where content is developed by a handful of experts, it's vetted by a review group, and really quickly released, right? So in this era of COVID, where there's not a lot of empirical evidence for how to do the things that we're supposed to be doing, guidance is really kind of what we have. Guidelines, on the other hand, are the very thorough, methodologically rigorous guidance and guidelines and recommendations that ASAM works on through a slow process that includes a literature review, formal recommendations, there's a public comment period, and then final approval by the board of directors. And I just want to highlight that what we're really talking about is guidance. So I think we want to say that because to some extent, there's no right or wrong answer here in these situations. It really is about kind of using our best clinical judgment in any given situation, and that the guidance helps to kind of frame that and provide some considerations for clinicians to then think about. So this is what the website looks like if you haven't gone to it, and it will be continuously updated as we are adding not only more guidance, but also then updating what is already on there. And just a quick word about kind of what the task force and the structure looks like. So we ended up using something that looks like an incident command structure, if anyone is familiar with that. And I want to point out not only the CPDC task force that is here and the various different topics that some of which you will see, and there have been more added. But I also wanted to also point out the Chapters Council here, because of all of you who are ASAM members, you're automatically then Maryland and DC chapter members, in which case we want to hear your voices. Really want to hear your voices kind of through our chapter presidents and other representatives so that we can actually have kind of a two-way communication as this crisis evolves and continues to move forward. The other piece I wanted to point out is this covid@asam.org, which is a dedicated email that ASAM established to collect your questions, your concerns, your thoughts that then also may help inform some of the guidance that is being developed. So this is just a roster of the task force members to date. We keep adding members as we also then walk through the various different topic areas. But just to show you, it really is a broad swath of individuals, highlighting Jasleen Salwan here, who I know is on the call. Nishant Shah, thank you. And I think there are going to be some others that we're reaching out to as well. So a number of different members in the DC, Maryland area as well. So this is the composition of the overall task force review team that then has kind of a final overview and review of all of the guidances that are developed by the task force members. So here are the guidance topics to date, and we're not going to go into all of them, but just so that you all know that we started with really kind of outpatient settings and infection mitigation in those areas and practices, residential settings, adjusting drug testing protocols, access to buprenorphine, for example, support group guidance, and the most recent one that was posted is on medications, dosages, and formulations. Upcoming, you will then see guidance for addiction medicine in general hospitals. We have guidance that's being developed on criminal justice and homeless populations, treating pregnant women with opiate use disorder during this time. And finally, guidance on physician and clinician well-being that is also underway.